Okay, so as mentioned earlier on, we'll be creating this pipe junction here with two cylinders that are joined together. Now, a couple of lessons ago, right, or last lesson, right, we learned about using Boolean, right, to create this type of object. But the problem with Boolean, right, is sometimes it generates very bad topology. Okay, so let me just start from beginning and show you an example. I'll create a cylinder. Now, we know that if we are going to subdivide something, right, as a cylinder, we don't really need so many segments here. So I'm going to use one that has something that is divisible by 2. I will use 8, okay, an 8 segment cylinder. I'll increase the height. And then also I'll duplicate another one, okay, using rotate. So holding down to shift, and holding down to J, I can rotate 90 degrees. Okay, rotate it too much. I'll just type 90 degrees like that. All right. So if I want to create a pipe junction, right, now I can try my luck and use the Boolean tool under Mesh, Boolean, and Union. And it may or may not give me the result that I want. So if I press number 3 to subdivide, right, see sometimes, right, it makes mistakes over here. You see that these two vertices are not merged together. And these two are not merged together. So we have to do cleanup, right? I know that there are two vertices over here. In my HUD, it shows 2. So I have to do things like merge and then merge vertices. Then same thing for this one. There are 3 actually, no, sorry, 2. Right. Also selecting your vertices, you have to be very careful. Now, one thing I never talked about in Maya is that when you go to shaded mode, right, and you go to vertex mode, and let's say I want to select the vertices here, I will drag a box. Now, in front of you, right, you think that you have selected all these vertices. But in reality, right, you also end up selecting vertices behind. Now, if you find that this is very annoying, right, you can actually change your selection method. Under the selection tool, if you double click on the selection tool, you can bring up the selection settings. So instead of dragging a box and accidentally selecting the vertices behind this model, you can change it to camera based. Camera based simply means that I will only select whatever that the camera is seeing right in front of me. So now behind here is not selected. So again, to go to these options, you have to double click on select and enable this option here. Okay, so I will reset the tool and I will disable this camera based so that I will not always accidentally select the vertices behind. Alright, so let's go to press number 3 and see. Okay, now we have these two vertices over here. So basically it's these two over here, and I'll merge them together. Shift right mouse click, merge vertices to the center. And then right now, if I press number 3, yeah, and now I got something that is, the topology is good. However, it doesn't look like a pipe at all. So I will have to do some, what do you call that, beveling. So I have to double click to select this edge loop, shift double click, shift double click, shift double click. Alright, and then apply a bevel. And sometimes the bevel might work, sometimes the bevel might collapse. So it depends on whether you merge the vertices properly or not. So right now I will just try beveling it, see whether it works. Yep, it works very good, but the amount is too much. I'll hold down the control and then just bring it down. I'm going to add one more segment so that it will cut across like that. Now, after this, I will check whether the segment will subdivide properly by pressing number 3. And yeah, it looks good. Okay? But right now, the ends here, right, doesn't look like the end of a cylinder. It looks like a sausage, right? So I have to flatten the faces. So go back to level 1. Then I'm going to select these faces here. And notice we have triangular faces, right? Okay, now I want to show you a quick way to select. You hold down to tab and then we paint select the ends of these faces. And we use our select similar tool. So you automatically select only the triangular fan faces. See, I don't have to jump around and select. So go to select and similar. So once you have selected, we can extrude. So use the extrude command, Control E or Shift right mouse click and extrude. Then remember, always extrude along the normal, which is the blue arrow. Left mouse click on the blue arrowhead and pull out a small section. All of the rest should pull out as well. So once we've done that, we will have, when we press number 3 in object mode, we have the cylinders on the end. Okay, but if you look closely at the edge here, okay, this is not very good topology. We need to fix here. We don't, I mean, this diamond looks very nice and cool, but actually we can refine this further. Alright, so what I want to do is, I want to make sure that everything, right, just joins in the center, cuts across in the center nicely. So I'll use my knife tool. Alright, I'll cut in the cross like that, click and drag, and then press enter. Then start from here, click and drag until it stops here, and click and drag until it stops here. Okay, so I cut in the center like this, but I will generate a bunch of vertices over here. So yeah, I see a bunch of vertices over here, and then how many are there? There are 6 of them. So I need to merge them together. Alright, so now they are single. So if I press number 3 right now, okay, I have all these complicated diamonds and triangles. I want to clean this up a little bit. So go over to level 1 again. We'll go in closer and we'll do a little bit of cleanup. So select these 2 edges, all these edges here. Alright, and then Control Delete. You will end up with a better flowing topology. So if I press number 3, we don't have that diamond anymore. And you can see everything is nice and clean. Okay, let's go over to the other side and do the same over here. Go to level 1, and then we'll use the knife tool again, multi-cut tool. Okay, click on the edge so that you can slide it to the bottom here. Right, click and drag, then press enter. Click on the edge, or if you see a red point, you can click on it. That means it's not, it is snapping to that point. All right. So again, we have the issue of cutting through the faces, and we end up with a bunch of vertices here. So grab and select them. There should be only 6. Then merge them. Merge the vertices to the center. Then we're going to clear the edges that we don't need. These 4 edges here. And then press Control and Delete. And now we have, when we subdivide, we press number 3, we have a perfect cross section like that. Alright, with a nicely subdivided option. Okay, so that is just one method. Now I will show you another method using, let's say, a T junction. Okay, right now we have a cross junction. That one is quite straightforward. How about a T junction? So same thing, we'll start off with an 8-sided cylinder. Remember, we do not need so many sides. Okay, 8 will do. Alright, then we'll reduce the radius slightly. And then I'm going to increase the height a little bit. Okay, I'll start off by selecting this cylinder and subdividing it into 2 using multi-cut and holding down the control and middle mouse click. Alright, now when I do this, right, I basically create a circular edge over here. If I go to wireframe, you can see the circular edge over here. So what I'm going to do is I want to extract this circular edge. Right, select by double clicking on it, then go to modify and convert the polygon edge to curve. Alright, and before I click on this, I have to click on the options here and change it to linear. This is very important. Alright, change it to linear. If you change it to cubic, you end up with a circular curve, which I do not want. I want to create the same linear or straight line curve. So convert. So right now, if you take a look at your outliner, you have a curve that is created. I'm going to go over to the front view, and then this is what it looks like. So go to perspective. Let me check. Okay, yeah, this is the front view. Select the curve, right? Then move the curve out of the way like that. Then rotate the curve 90 degrees in the x-axis. You can go over the channel box here and type 90 to rotate 90 degrees. Now what we want to do next is something called projection. Project. What is project? I want to project this curve right onto the surface of this cylinder. Right, this is a very useful tool. Now, for projection to work, you need to be looking at the correct angle. So right now, I need to look at the front view. So change to the front view. So the curve is selected. I need to shift select the mesh object. Make sure in object mode. Select the curve, shift select the object like this. Then go over to edit mesh and project curve on mesh. So when you do that, when you click on this option, right, then we go to perspective and see, you can see that the curve is being projected through the cylinder. Alright, that means I have a new curve that is now sitting on the cylinder. Right, let me undo that to leave it there. Okay, so what I want to do next is I want to use this curve that is projected on this surface to cut the cylinder. Alright, so to do that, it's very simple. Select the cylinder, shift select the projected curves, or you can use under the outliner here, much better to select. Okay, then use edit mesh and split mesh with projected curve. Done. Alright, so we don't need the curves anymore. We can delete away this curve. You use the outliner to select, and then shift select the projected curve, delete this. We don't need this anymore because our surface now is already cut. Alright, so now to create the T junction, all you need to do is to just select the faces. Okay, holding down the tab and then select the faces. And then what? Extrude. Simple as that. And then if you want this to be, okay, I forgot to mention, we created some problems over here. You can see the extra lines over there. Okay, let me undo that. Before I extrude, I forgot to do some cleanup. Now, when the curves cut the cylinder, right, it looks very nice and clean. But if you go to vertex mode, right, during the cutting process, right, it also messed up the cuts here. It added some extra vertices here. That is not what I want. So we should go and clean up all these vertices, single vertices that are living along the edge. Go and delete them. Go and inspect and make sure you get rid of every single one of them. Otherwise, right, it will cause problems when you extrude. Right, this one as well, and delete. I'm going to go to wireframe mode and just to check, make sure that there are no straggling vertices sitting on the edge. So if you see them, select them and delete them. Okay, you only want to keep those that has a junction of two edges crossing each other. Alright, so once you have done that, okay, everything looks clean. Okay, now we can choose, I'm going to pull it up from the front. Go to face selection mode, holding down to tab and then paint select the face that I want to extrude, holding down to tab key. Okay, then holding down the shift and grabbing the arrow to extrude. You can use Ctrl E as well. Then to flatten this, use the scale tool and flatten this. Now we have a perfect round disc. Let's subdivide this and see what it looks like. Alright, so same thing, press number 3. Okay, looks fine. However, over here we need to insert a supporting edge loop. So go to level 1 again. And also we have this weird topology over here. Let's do some cleanup. Select these two edges and then press Ctrl Delete. You want to keep everything nice and clean. Right. Also, we created four-sided faces as well. Okay, and then if you don't need these edges, we can select them and delete them as well. Go to select, double click, shift, double click, shift, double click. Okay, shift, double click, then Ctrl Delete. We'll dissolve them. Alright. Next, we want to add a bevel. Shift, double click, and then shift right mouse click bevel or Ctrl B, and then reduce the fraction until it's really, really small. Okay, actually, there's one edge loop around here that I should keep. Alright, so let me undo that until those edge loops come back again. Yeah, I should not get rid of this one. I should only get rid of these two. Yeah, I should keep this one. This one will keep the what I call it, the bevel right centered around here. So double click, shift, double click. Alright, then shift right mouse click and bevel. Then reduce the fraction down to a small value. Alright, maybe 0.01. And we add two segments. 2. And if I press number 3 right now, we have a perfect junction over here. See that? Very nice. Alright, so we create our part junction. Alright, what about the bottom faces here, the sausage ends? Okay, let's fix it. Okay, so go and select these faces. Okay, now this one I have to manually select. Okay, manually select the faces. Go to face selection. Okay, you can hold on to tab and then just paint select faster this way. Okay, hold on to the tab key, and then paint select. Okay, and then extrude. Shift right mouse click, extrude, or you can bevel. I'll use bevel. Okay, and then I'll use a small fraction, 0.01. I think one segment should be good enough. Alright, and then if I press number 3 now, okay, it's looking okay. Alright, but I still need one more edge loop around here. Let me undo that. Go to face selection mode again. Yeah, just now I should have used 2 segments. I only use 1 segment. That is not enough. Hold on to tab and then paint select. Alright, then Control B, bevel, and then give 2 segments and type 0.01. Okay, actually, wait, I think something is wrong here. Let me undo that. Let me go back to level 1. Alright, I think the fraction is too much. Let me undo that. Back to the original. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this is where I want to end up with. Alright, so back to where we started before we bevel. Control B and reduce the fraction down to 0.01. And then segments 2. Alright, finally. When I press number 3 now, yes, now we have a nice T junction. Alright, so this is the last object that I want you guys to create for today. And those of you who are, okay, for those of you who want a challenge, right, I know some of you are already quite fast. Using what you already learned, can you try to create a tab with a knot on top with spheres at the end, okay, for this object? Alright, so for those of you who want a challenge, okay, if not, next week then I'll demonstrate how to create the tab head. Okay, so I'll stop the video now.